Hi, I'm Sam, your resident fantasy reader.
And I'm Morgan, your romance reader, and we welcome you to Just One More Page,
where it's never just one more page.
Hey.
Hello.
It's the first podcast we've recorded in a while.
You may not know this, if you listen to our podcast every week, you're like, wait a minute, what? Because you posted last week. Well, fun fact, the last 2 episodes were pre-recorded months in advance. We had a 2-week break, which was very, very nice. I enjoyed having a little bit of a break. I read a lot of books during our break. Oh, how many books do you read next? Now we're in April, but in March, how many books did you read in March? I was going to ask you last time, but obviously that was pre-recorded.
5, 6?
5 or 6? That's pretty good.
You did my reading wrap up on Instagram.
I did do your reading wrap up. I did.
Wait, I can go count them. And one was a DNF. I DNF'd one, which I talked about already on one episode. And then, let's see, how many? 1, 2, 3. Oh, no, I read 4.
4 is pretty good.
Yeah.
Last month, I read 11 books, which was absolutely crazy. I went crazy. How many books have you read so far this month?
Well, counting this one, I've done 2 full books, and then I think I have an hour and 10 minutes left to a third book.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
This is the first book I finished this month.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I've been in a really bad reading slum because I'm trying not to
Right.
buy books. Funny for me to say, but I'm trying my hardest not to spend all my money on books. So I feel like if I take the books that I'm the most excited to read and I put it by my bedside, I'll read them. But quite honestly, I just every book I pick up, I've been reading 100 pages here, and I'll drop it and I'll pick up another book and read 100 pages. So I just been in a little bit of a reading slum, which was a little disappointing.
It happens. I think we're just going to be rotating months.
I think so
all the
too.
Odd months, you're just going to have really good reading months, and all the even months for me, I'm going to have really good reading months, and then we're just going to flip-flop for the rest of the year, and it's fine.
There you go. As long as we hit our reading goals, that's all that matters, okay?
According to Goodreads, I am 4 books ahead.
Ooh, I don't even want to look. Oh, it's only 3 books. That's not bad. I'm listening to this Emily Henry book called Book Lovers. I haven't read it before, so I'm reading that or listening to that. And I want to say I'm 50% done, so I'm probably going to finish that tomorrow.
I did 75% of that book, and it's just been sitting on my shelf, almost finished. I really should finish it.
Oh, poor baby.
I think I just got distracted by other things, and then I just have not gone back to it. And I look at it all the time going, I should really finish that book, and I just don't.
I honestly feel the same about most of the books I have on my bookshelf that I have started reading and then put right back down. We need to do a readathon where we just read the books that we have halfway finished. That way you feel motivated when we're like, oh my God, I finished 6 books. It doesn't matter that each of them had 50 pages left. I still read them all.
The official finish date was on this month, so therefore I finished that book this month.
Talking about trying to read one book and then going on to a bunch of other books, getting very easily distracted. I went into Walmart with my dad today, or not today, it was yesterday, to go and get gardening stuff because I'm going to be a little gardening girl this summer. I got a bunch of stuff to plant. So I went to go get some stuff. We didn't find everything, but what I will say is I walked by the book section and I didn't realize that Walmart has a legit book section because I don't really I don't go to Walmart very often, if any. I think this is the first time I've been in this Walmart for since a year and a half, but that's just because this Walmart is a little further out from me. Going in there, I didn't realize it has a legit book section, and I saw the book that we're going to be talking about today, which is The Never List, and it's beautiful. The book itself is gorgeous. I just have one thing I don't like about the book itself.
Okay.
Can I be honest?
What?
This is a judge-free area, right?
We listen and we don't judge. It's
right.
fine.
I love the stenciled edges, but I don't necessarily think it goes with the book. I wish it was gemstones or butterflies.
I mean, that would be fun. I ironically got the book the same day you did. You just didn't know it.
Did you?
Yes. Because I'd gotten it. I was like, ooh, book trophy. I think I was halfway done with the book. I'd already made my decision that I wanted it as a book trophy. Just spoiler alert for the podcast. I like the book. I mean, Walmart has decent prices for books. It was $23 or something like that. And so I was like, heck yeah. Like, and I'm probably gonna end up rereading it before the second book comes out. So I'm like, I gotta have this in my hand.
Honestly, I was only like 50 pages in and I still was like, I want to buy this book. So we listen and we don't judge about the fact that I buy too many books. If you haven't seen this book, you should definitely go check it out. It has a beautiful cover. It has stenciled edges that I wish were butterflies or gemstones, but they're roses. They're still really cute. And when you open up the first cover, there is beautiful artwork of the four guys, which I'm not gonna lie, I definitely, whenever I was reading a certain part of the book, I would definitely flip back and be like, what do you I had to do it. I had to be like, okay, I'm trying to imagine you.
What do you actually look at? Because there's really no major description of the guys.
No, there's not.
Like, if you want to fantasize about your own men, don't look at the front pages of the book and just go into it blind, because there's no actual description of them minus like specific parts. But that I'm not going to go into that.
Yes. We're not, I mean, maybe let's go into that. Okay. So let's talk about the book that we're going to be discussing today. Like I said before, we read The Neverless by Jade Presley, which is a adult romance book that is a Why Choose novel, which is the reason why I said there's four guys on the first page. Get this Why Choose, because why have one when you can just have four?
Why
two
choose?
get two free?
Why
Definitely. I mean,
buy two get two free?
why not? Of course, this novel is a little bit spicy. When I say a little bit spicy, I mean it's very, very spicy. It's very spicy to the point where I was like, what's happening? I was like, ma'am. Oh my goodness. Also, don't listen to this book at work. That's all I will say. Do not listen to this book at work, because you will have to slowly take your headphone out of your ear and just kind of put yourself in timeout. So don't do that. So this novel takes place in a kingdom called Lumathyst, where four mortal god princesses must find a mate in order to safeguard the throne. 5 women have tried, and all 5 have failed. But tonight, at the royal city, the princesses must choose a new mate and hope that she can survive the transformation that will make her immortal. The only issue is that Rylee Gray wasn't supposed to be at the choosing. After all, she snuck in for her own dark reasons. So, of course, they pick her because, why not? And the 4 princesses have no choice but to make her fall in love with all of them, or they will be forced to watch their kingdom collapse. Now, before we get into this episode, I do want to say a special thanks to NetGalley and Red Tower Books for giving us this arc for a honest review. So thank you so much for giving us this arc. So Sam, tell me, what do you think? I mean, obviously you love this book because you had to get the book trophy. If you don't know what that means, it basically means that if you read a digital copy of a book and you like it so much and you have no self-control, you have to buy the physical copy.
Yes, you need it on your shelf. Duh. Okay, when we got offered to read this book,
Yes.
which we got offered to read this back in like January, I think, right? January, February, something like that. It's been a while. We were told the premise of it and everything. I had my reservations, and the reason why I had my reservations was because we've already read a Why Choose a while back, the like series that we had reviewed a while back.
It was like Save Me.
Yeah, and as far as like an introduction to Why Choose, it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
Did it?
And so, yes, because I enjoyed the books for the most part, but I think it was the fact that like the main characters in that book, the 4 male characters, were all like blood related brothers. So this one was a little bit nicer only because like none of them were blood related, just number 1. So it kind of took the ick off of it a little bit. I really feel like because everyone was kind of very consensual on this and very on board, it made like the book a lot more fun. Yeah, it's Why Choose, and yeah, they're looking for the mate and everything, but I also really liked the actual storyline and how communicative everybody was to each other. There was not, I wouldn't say miscommunication, but like the main character obviously has a big secret about herself and she's not willing to give it up, and that's for the plot. The main reason why she's there is because her sister's missing and she doesn't want to like give up this opportunity to try and find her sister. But I loved this book. I loved how, I guess, consensual everything was. I love how the men like all treated her with absolute respect, even though they all had very different personalities. It was just overall a really good book, and I feel like it did a really good job of not really tying everything in a nice neat bow, but like there was a bow being made until you get to the very, very end, and then it's like, oh my god, there's a second book, what's going to happen next? I mean, I rated it 5 stars. I love this book. I had a really good time with it. I kind of guessed one of the plot twists fairly early on, and it was because of one line. But other than that, it was so good. I had such a good time with it. I love all four of the guys. They're all great. Cal has a piece of my heart. I don't even care. I don't care if it's why I choose. He's on my like high list.
Oh, I was gonna ask you. Okay,
I know
well,
you would. But we can get to that point.
we can talk about our book boyfriends later.
But overall, it was a great book. It was a lot of fun. I'm glad that we were offered to review this, and no regrets. It was I had a good time.
So for me, I'm not like a fantasy reader. I think I've said this enough times on the podcast that I'm the romance reader, even though this is like romance fantasy. And also on top of that, I was going through a really bad reader's block or reader slum where I had been having a hard time reading books. But to be quite honest with you, Sam, I think that this book got me out of my reading slump. This
Yay.
book was such a fun read. I couldn't put it down. Like once I started it, I really couldn't put it down because I was like obsessed with the storyline. I really, really loved how the writer wrote the why choose part, because sometimes like when there's like why choose, like at least the one that we read, it felt like all the characters were together and it was more annoying because like you didn't see the characters fall in love, and it was hard for a writer to put all these characters together and be like, okay, fall in love with all of them. Instead, this writer, what she did was that she kind of like section it where each like couple of chapters this character would be with this character, and you can see her fall in love with the princesses. So it was really, really nice to kind of see it that way. And also, all the characters are very, very, in my opinion, like well defined. When I'm reading a passage about Jax, I'm like, oh, yeah, that's definitely sounds like him. Or Axel, I'm like, oh, yeah, that definitely sounds like him. And I just like picture these characters and they're very, very well described. I love that. I love the fact that their personalities are well defined. And the love story was so flipping good. The twists were amazing. I mean, like Sam said, there was one twist I definitely kind of found out too. The only thing I will say is that I wish that the trials, because she does have to go through trials, were a little bit more fleshed out.
Yeah, I agree, because I feel like they weren't as like defined until she kind of like recapped them later and was like, these were the trials. And I'm like, I didn't realize we were in a trial. I just thought like life
Yeah.
was happening. I don't know.
Yeah, I wish that the trials were more fleshed out. I also wish that there was a little bit more storyline with the kings, or her like trying to win over the king's favors or whatever, or more information about how the princes feel about where she's from and stuff like that. And I get it that they're like, oh no, we love where you're from, we don't care where you're from. But I wish that there was a little bit more drama with that. But then again, this is like a romance book, so a lot of times there's not a lot of angst. But what I will say is I did not realize that this book was a part of a series. I thought it was just like, this is the first book. And let me just tell you right now, when I finished this book, Sam, I immediately had to run to Goodreads and be like, is there a second book? I was at work when I finished it, and I literally had to run to the bathroom and be like, I need to look real quick and see if there's a second book, because if there's not, I'm calling Sam right now and being like, we need to like report this crime, because how dare you hurt my heart.
But we would be able to report it, and we will tell you why we'll be able to report it later on in the episode.
Ooh, okay. Well, would you like to go into our spoiler section?
Yes.
Because there are things we need to talk about, Sam. So if you guys have yet to read this book and you don't want to be spoiled, check out last week's episodes. We actually talked to another writer. Her name is Kate Ballinger. We read her book, Original Sinner, which was a paranormal romance novel. We also interviewed Kate. And if you want to check out our interview with her and us reviewing her book, please go do so. If you have already read The Never List, or you don't care to be spoiled because you're toxic, that's okay. Go ahead and listen to us spoil this book. Sam, I don't want to swear, but her sister.
I know. It was like, okay, so literally, because I was listening to this as an audiobook for a majority of it. She was like, yeah, they took the mask off. And I'm like, it's my sister. And like 30 seconds later, the narrator goes, it's my sister. And I'm like, I knew it. And you want to know how I knew it? Was because when she was like cornering the person with the fish, and Rylee goes, I couldn't tell if it was male or female. And then like the dagger hit her and a female voice grunted. I was like, that's her sister. I know that's her sister, especially when they're like, yeah, and now the attacks have like died down all of a sudden after that day. I'm like, that's her sister.
I had a feeling it was her sister because, like, there's a part where they're talking about how they have never been able to catch, like, anyone because, like, these people, like, kinda disappear out of thin air, and I was like, I remember that her sister is really good at hiding and really good at, like, finding an opening to get out and stuff like that. The fact that her sister is a part of this, like, rebel group, okay? And she sees that well, first off, she left her sister. She flipping left her sister, which is another thing that really breaks my heart because she is so much in love with her sister. It's her sister. She loves her sister. And her sister not only left her, but also on top of that, her sister also is a part of this rebel group that knows that she's getting married to these four guys and is still going to attack her. Now, my question to you is, do you think that her sister was at the, like, ending part because they were trying to stop her from getting mated to the four princesses? Or do you think that her sister's group was just there to bring chaos?
I think both. Honestly, I feel like it was a moment of opportunity. I don't know what the original plan is, and I'm hoping in the next book we'll get a moment where Rylee and Aaron actually talk to each other. But I feel like it was an opportunity for Aaron to like steal Rylee back, and then also to attack the princes when like I mean, everybody was in one spot, and you knew they were going to all be in one spot because they talked about how it was going to be the winter solstice, and like this was like a pre-planned thing. And so, of course, like that's the most major opportunity to kind of attack is when you know where they're going to be, when they're going to be there, kind of what's going to happen. It was like the perfect storm of attacking and also getting her sister back. I don't know. It was very poorly planned because clearly it didn't work out very well.
I wish that we got more information about why they were rebelling against the princesses and the kingdoms. Like, I understand they weren't really treated the best and they were losing their titles and stuff like that, but I just don't understand why they would attack like that market and destroy someone's fish stand. like I understand they want to get back at the kingdoms because they have treated them bad, but why would you destroy that girl's fish? Like, that's kind of rude. That's kind of rude. Leave
Right?
the fish alone.
Leave the fish alone, man.
It's kind of like the whole watermelon scene in Avatar. Like,
Or the cabbages?
oh, the cabbages. Oh my god, why
Yeah.
so watermelon?
Not my cabbages.
That's honestly what I was picturing with that whole fish scene. I was like, no. I honestly got really annoyed though when the sister ripped up her mask and she's like, hey sis, and she left. I'm like, your sister's gonna die. Like,
You just left your sister to die.
she literally just got stabbed. There's a second book, so obviously she's not gonna die. I guess I pictured in some ways Erin was such like a good sister, but maybe I had a different view of her in my head. I mean, she doesn't care about her as much as Rylee cares about her.
Let's just talk about Rylee dying. She's dying at the end of the book. She died twice. Okay, she already died once. Okay, first of all, she's in the Athenry or whatever, and she's talking to the goddesses and stuff. And they're like, Rylee, you're dead. And my jaw was on the floor. On the floor because I knew there was still more of the book left to go. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is a series. So clearly she can't die in the Athenry because we have to like keep on going. And they're like, no, you're dead. And I was like, what do you mean you're dead? What do you mean she's dead? She's not supposed to be dead right now, man. It was like Game of Thrones. It was like, ain't nobody safe.
Here's the thing though, I wonder who poisoned her.
Probably Jax's dad.
I was thinking the same thing.
But that's almost too obvious. You know, I think like Pierce's dad might.
I don't know. I don't think Pierce's dad would because she earned his respect.
Yeah, but that would make him like the best criminal because no one's gonna look at him.
That's true.
But I feel like it's probably Jax's dad because he was like so nonchalant walking up those stairs and was like, I don't have to worry about you anymore because the Athenry is gonna take care of you. He poisoned the juice.
Yeah, but my thing is also, wouldn't that be hurting him? Because weren't they all very concerned about them finding a mate? Because they're like, you're not going to be able to get your powers or whatever.
Yeah, but it's just the guys. It's not the kings. Because the kings are immortal and they have their full power. And then the reason why the guys have to find a mate is to open up their full power, but they have to like every year kind of like deplete themselves a little bit of their own powers. And not only do they not have a ton, they're also giving up more and more every year. So they got to find their mate. So honestly, it was in the king's best interest for the guys not to have their powers because then they continue ruling.
I also thought that the trial for her getting there was super interesting. Like the fact that she had to use all four guys' powers to kind of get to the end.
That was smart. I like that.
Yeah, I really like that too, the fact that she was like, "I have to understand each of them to kinda know where they're coming from," and I like the fact that she was collecting their jewelry as she went through each kingdom, their tokens. She's like, "I got earrings, I got rings, I got a
Then
bracelet,
you get a tattoo.
I got got everything," I'm good. So, you said that you like Cal.
Yes.
Why was he your favorite?
I don't know. I just feel like I vibe with Cal pretty good. I thought honestly it would be Axel, especially with like the water and everything, and he's like the mind and stuff. But I don't know. I found Cal very like sweet and caring and everything. Maybe it was just because he was the first prince she was with. That was the one we fell for first. Because at first I was like, oh, we're like all gonna totally fall for Jax, which Jax is great. I think Jax is just a little too intense for me. I loved Cal. I feel like it went actually in the order that she went with the guys. It would be Cal, Axel, Pierce, and then Jax.
Yeah, I don't know who my favorite was. Like, I like how Cal is like a golden retriever. Well, kind of. Like, he's just very sweet. I like the fact that Axel's very outgoing and loud. I like that Pierce is very smart. And then Jax is, Jax.
Jax is Jax, you know?
All moody. But let me be honest with you. I don't think I'd be a good fit with Jax because I'm moody too. And two moody people are not the best together. So I would definitely have to go with Axel because I feel like I'm so introverted that I need someone who's very extroverted to bring myself out. And also, I love Cal. Would you want to read the second book in this series?
Yes. Oh, 100%.
What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know because I really don't know where the story is honestly going from here. She's now immortal, and the big piece of this book has been taken care of. So now we have like the rebels. Obviously, we're not obviously, but I'm guessing we're going to be working with trying to like take down the rebel group, but also like finding out their motivation. But there's also like on the map, there's these like 3 different areas that are like outside of Lumathyst. And so it's like the rebels kind of like an annoying mosquito, and there's like a bigger thing brewing that's coming down. Are the goddesses going to wake up? Because now that she's now immortal and the guys have their full powers, is there going to be like a civil war between the kings and the princes because the kings don't want to give up their power? Like, I don't know what's going to happen, but there's something.
I honestly think that the next book is probably going to be about how she's going to fit into the royal life, but also on top of that, what's going to happen like with her sister and the kings and how she's going to find her place in the palace. Who do you think changed her information? Like, like that scene where they're like, oh, he's like, let's see your information. She's like so nervous. Like, he's like, you grew up on like Sealder silk. And she's like, that's not true. Who changed my information?
What was the name of the lady's maid?
Oh, it's like starts with an M. It's
I have to go look it up. But I feel like it's the lady's maid only because she had made a comment about how, why do you think I'm the only one who gets to do your hair? I'm always insistent that I'm the one that's going to be doing your hair. And it's because she knows who Rylee is. And because she's so trusted within the royal group, and then she kind of has that like whatever thing with like is it Axel's dad or Pierce's dad?
Who?
The lady's maid kind of flirted with one of the kings.
Oh, it was Cal's dad, right?
Cal's dad. Yeah, I think it was Cal's dad. Anyway, so like she has this like trust among the royals, so she would be the best person, honestly, to change the information.
I honestly thought it was her sister.
I don't think her sister was close enough to do it.
You don't think so? Because I think like
No, because I don't think her sister knew that she was the one who, unless she like reads that royal post, whatever. I feel like her sister didn't know that Rylee was the chosen one until that attack in Axel's people.
I think it'd be interesting to see what's going to happen in the next book, which I'm definitely needing to read because listen, that plot twist of her being like, I'm gonna die. And I'm like, what?
These are probably the last words I'll ever hear him say. And I was like, no, it's not. You can't die.
The last word is my eyes shut. The darkness sweeping in like the shadows of night. Stay with me, Jax cries. And I'm certain those are the last words I'll ever hear. Hearing that last line, I literally almost threw my headphones. I was like, are you kidding me? This is the end?
And then the audiobook goes, this is Audible. And I'm just like, no. We hope you enjoyed your purchase. No, I didn't enjoy. I did, but I did.
Oh, but it was such a good book. I really loved it. And I can't wait to read the second book. Although I do want to say that this book series did remind me of my childhood.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me explain.
What pad stories were you reading?
No. Okay. Have you ever read these books? They were like, oh my God, I didn't even look them up before I'm talking about it. But they were these princess books. And they would have earrings or jewelry. And there was like Ruby Princess. Okay. It was called The Jewel Kingdom. Have you ever heard of those?
No.
I used to read them as a kid because you would get like a little jewelry. Like, it'd be very plasticky and whatever. Each jewelry or jewel had a princess. My favorite was Ruby Princess, and she wore red, and I loved her because she had black hair. And then there's also emerald. There's like an emerald one, a diamond one, a sapphire one. And hearing that each of the guys are kind of a gemstone, it made me be like, this reminds me of my childhood. Not in the way of like why I choose, but like the fact that each of them are in some ways a certain like gemstone or crystal, like obsidian, sapphire, ruby, emerald. Like, I loved it. Also, if you were to choose vacation spot, where would you choose? Would you choose
Oh, Sapphire Cove in a minute.
really?
Yeah, because I love the ocean.
Yeah, I'm not a big ocean girly, so I think I would have to just, I love my wood, so I would definitely choose the emerald wood. I think the obsidian city would be a little bit too cold for me. I think that the ruby one would be okay, but I definitely think emerald wood would be for me, just because like I love the whole like be in the woods in a cottage reading a good book, hopefully not getting murdered.
The red area was more like ruby was more like farming, sapphire was definitely water, and then green was the woods, and then obsidian's like the darkest area. And I was like, these kind of make sense. I enjoy continuity.
Yes, me too. I loved it. And I can't wait to read the second book. So, and hopefully we get another map.
Me either.
I love a good map and also another beautiful book. So, anyways,
Yes.
next week we have an announcement for next week. We are actually going to be interviewing Jade Presley, who wrote the book. Woo!
Yay!
Now I can ask her. Have you read the Jewel Princess books? I'm not going to ask her that, but maybe I will.
You should just be like, listen, I need to know.
Question, and did you read the Jewel Kingdom series as a kid that had like little necklaces and earrings and like rings? I remember my favorite one was like the emerald one because I got like a little emerald ring and I felt like I was so fancy, even though it was like the most plastic of plastic. I know the ruby one, you got like a ruby necklace. Let me just say, as like a 7-year-old, I was blinged out. Those are my favorite books when I was a kid.
There
So
you go.
I need to ask her, have you read this book series, or have you have you watched The Covenant? Because also this book kind of reminded me of The Covenant also.
Yes. Yes.
I need to know these questions. I need to have them answered, okay? Did you not get that feeling?
Well, I did with Jax, honestly. Okay, so I know we're coming to the end of this, but like, honestly, I felt like Jax was being set up to be like my favorite guy because he was like dark and moody. And then when I met Cal, I was like, who's Jax? Jax who?
Yeah, you're like, who's Jax?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Jax who?
I feel like we were all kind of built up to be like, you have to fall in love with Jax, but we're all like, he's not my favorite. But I do.
Jax needs some therapy, okay? Like, he needs some good therapy.
He does need a lot of therapy. He needs a hug.
He does need a hug.
I do love that Jade wrote for her dedication to the readers who always struggle to pick a favorite book boyfriend. Don't worry, here you'll never have to choose. It's okay to love all of them. So we can love all of them. We don't need a pick.
We don't need a favorite.
We don't need a favorite, even though we definitely have a favorite. But if you guys are excited, next week we're going to be interviewing Jade. We can ask her all my questions I have. And yeah, we'll see you guys next week. I'm so excited to talk to her about all things about the Neverless. But if you guys did like this episode and would like to support us, please remember to rate us on Spotify or anywhere else you can rate us. Please rate us because it definitely helps push our podcast out there. Also, remember to check out our YouTube channel, Just One More Page, and check us out anywhere else you can find a podcast. Sam will tell you about the rest of our socials.
Okay, so if you think we're absolutely hilarious, which fun fact, my friends, we do have a TikTok. It is Just One More Page Podcast. And for all of the pictures and reels and whatever else we decide to post, we do have an Instagram. It is Just One More Page Official. And we are also Just One More Page Podcast on Tome and Blue Sky, and I think that's all we got now. So yeah, go ahead and check us out on there. Come follow us, come slide into our DMs. We love talking to you all. We hope you enjoyed this. We hope you join us for our interview next week. I'm so excited to talk to Jade, and we will talk to you all next Sunday. All right, bye.
Okay, bye everyone.